Are we good? Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to our council meeting. Marnie, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Steve Friedman.
Here.
Councilmember Deb Gillis. Here. Councilmember Anna Richards.
Here.
Vice Mayor Don Horton.
I'm here.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. I hear Dennis Ward is out there in the crowd. Would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Thank you, Mayor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, council, requests for additions, deletions. Deb, I'll start with you. Mike?
Hit everybody else.
Okay.
I've been behind all day, so
It's
I'm just going
okay,
to
it's
say it
okay.
right
Dawn,
now.
anything for you?
No, ma'am, I have none.
Anna?
Nope.
Steve?
I'm good.
Okay.
Back to me. I thought about it. I need to have a short discussion about surveys by the village under mayor council communication.
Okay.
Not the kind Anna does.
Yes, the kind
I have
Anna,
your
no.
pen, Anna, I have no ink. Can I have your pen? I have no ink in my pen. You'll get a note from me. Okay. All righty then, moving on. Reports, presentations, and announcements. We'll start with our wonderful Rick Ramsey. Would you like to come up, sir?
I would love to, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, citizens. I wanted to come up and recap on our lighting project that Captain Quintero and others from Electric Co-op, City of Isla Mirada, FDOT worked on. But I kind of want to talk about what brought it to rise, why we focused on this. Most council will probably remember back in late March of this year, we had like 3 car crashes within a week where 4 people perished in Isla Mirada. So that was the catalyst for us to look back and say, we got to reassess what's going on. Is there a problem that we can identify? Can we mitigate and fix it? Is there a common cause here, common theme? So what we determined was, and it took a little while to get the crash report back from FHP because being part of a traffic homicide investigation, it doesn't come out fast. But we had one crash at the 90-mile marker. And that crash resulted at about 8 o'clock at night, a pedestrian being killed. So we looked at that one to determine, was this a lighting? Is a pedestrian with a crossing? What we determined was a male was walking on the bike path. There was a driver who was driving one of these Tesla-type cars. I'm not sure what model, but it was an auto drive where it drives itself. And he alleges the car was in a self-driving mode while he was having lunch, eating. And he alleges the car malfunctioned, left the road, went onto the shoulder, struck and killed this pedestrian. So that was a situation we determined that it wasn't a lighting, it wasn't a crosswalk, it wasn't a traffic-related matter, that we or no one else had control over either a self-driving car which malfunctioned or the person lying and distracted driving, eating a sandwich, left the road. Either way, it wasn't something that was correctable in our minds. We also had a crash at the 81.5 mile marker. This is about 7 o'clock in the morning, just when the sun was coming up. This is up around the Outdoor Sportsman, at 81.5 mile marker. We had a driver who was going northbound on US 1. We had an individual homeless who was suicidal just 2 days earlier, who was trying to cross from the bay to the ocean. On his bike, had no bike lights, no reflectives, dark clothing. Crossed the southbound lane, entered into the center turn lane. There was no northbound oncoming car. Traffic was extremely light, but yet he drove directly in front of that northbound car who was not speeding, was not intoxicated, had no time to make any evasive maneuvers whatsoever. So that person was struck and died, unfortunately. So we're not sure if this was a suicide attempt, as the person 2 days prior was suicidal. Seems odd when you were at Safe Haven in the middle street that you didn't stop and you clearly see this car coming. So we determined clearly that was a possibility. There was some lighting issues there, which could be a contributing factor. And then we had a really sad case that week as well at the 80-mile marker in front of Papa Joe's, where an adult male and female older couple crossing from Papa Joe's to the other side got struck and killed by a car. Again, the driver was not intoxicated. It's about 8:30 at nighttime. Driver was not speeding. Driver was not cited in this case at all. They appeared to be crossing, and anybody would have a hard time at nighttime determining distance, speed, and closure of a car. It's hard to see headlights and really determine how close are they, how fast are they coming. So this couple were crossing. I think the time when they probably figured out it was coming pretty fast, they weren't in the age capacity to run or really step it up. Again, they had dark clothing, no lights on them. Lighting is the issue there. Contributing factor of the crash was listed as a lighting issue. The driver of the car didn't see him until impact occurred. And again, so after that point in time, I got with the district captain, and I said, we need to identify what's going on, if anything. I wanted her to, at that point in time, I asked her to come in at nighttime. I wanted to assess the lighting from the 80 to the 90-mile marker to see if there's any particular area or areas of concern that we could either see as a contributing factor for these crashes, or we could see as a potential area of crashes may occur, thus we need to mitigate the impacts. We identified 11 areas of strategic concern for us initially. Now, we could go out and find probably 100 areas we need a street light. Some people want more lights, some people don't want more lights, but our focus was trying to do what we can to start off and address this problem. The captain identified 11 areas. Then she did a good job to work with our partners. We always talk about partnerships. She got with the City of Islamorada staff, Florida Keys Electric Co-op. We talked to our friends at Florida Department of Transportation. Everyone was on board to identify that there's a need and work together to get it done. In a pretty fast time, I think we identified these areas, and we had 11 locations where we either put new lights that did not exist, or we did a few upgrades where we had some older lights which are almost orange and yellow in color, some of the older ones. We had those upgraded to high-intensity, white, crisp LED lights, a lot more visible. So we've got those areas identified, and those areas have been corrected. So we continue to try to focus on this, really to try to give you a brief background in case some of you are wondering about those crashes and what took place and why, and what's being done about it, if anything. So we again believe that a contributing factor, 80-mile marker, for the most part, was probably the lack of lighting, which has been corrected. The 81.5, we think there's a lighting issues which has been corrected. We also think there's a good chance this was a self-imposed suicide. And the 90-mile marker, again, no contributing factors that was in anybody's control other than the fact of either the car malfunction or the person was distracted driving. And that's yet to be, I think, determined if the car malfunctioned or not. So I don't want to drag it out, and you got a lot of business tonight. I have any questions, I'll try to answer, but I thought we should just recap that as well.
Thank you very much, counsel. Do we anybody have anything for Mr. Ramsey?
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, my team, and thank you for your partnership and friendship. I appreciate each and every one of you, and our citizens, thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Okay. Our wonderful Captain Lisette.
Good evening, everyone. To adjust this. I'm Captain Quintero, and I'm happy to be here today. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you a little bit about a project that I've been working on since October of last year. So as you can see on the screen, our topic today is Plantation Key Colony, specifically Halloween night. So Plantation Key Colony, that was last year with a lot of our young youth, and very, very happy to be there. And the reason why we're here, it's because there were some safety measures, some safety concerns that I identified while during that night. And I have some pictures, and please excuse the quality of the pictures. I didn't think that I would be showing and sharing these pictures today in front of everyone. This is Plantation Key Colony, particularly you'll see Royal Poinciana Boulevard, which is the main street in that area, and then you also have your side streets. And what I would like everyone to notice is the vehicular traffic and the foot traffic that is moving along together, and it was very challenging for vehicles to get from one point to another with the heavy foot traffic in that area. This was early in the night. As you can see, it was a bit busy. This is Royal Poinciana Boulevard, like I stated. As you can see, this vehicle is actually having to move on to the opposite lane of traffic so that he can maneuver around the pedestrians who are trick-or-treating in the area. Here you've got golf carts, and as you can see, this little guy right next to the golf cart, pretty close to the golf cart, and that's a bit concerning to me because obviously we don't want our youth to be injured in any way. We want to protect them at all costs. This gentleman here thought it would be a good idea to trick-or-treat or to deliver candy from his monster truck. And there was a juvenile that was close to this vehicle as well at one point that caused a lot of concern. Obviously, we stopped this behavior immediately so that he didn't continue handing out candy. We've got here, as you can see, again, another street. The foot traffic is getting thicker because obviously later in the night you have your older kids that come out that want to trick or treat, and it just kept getting busier and busier. This is again the main road where you can see that vehicles parked. There's just no order, and there was everyone was everywhere, and it was really concerning because lighting is an issue there as well, which is something that we're going to look at together with FKC later on to install a few lights in the area, but particularly the volume of pedestrians and the vehicular traffic that was in the area was a concern. So what we've done is I've looked at the area and I'm proposing doing some street closures for that night for a few hours, not hard closures, but certainly control the amount of vehicles that come into that area so that we can minimize the exposure of the foot traffic and the vehicle traffic together in that area. And basically, the safety measures is to prevent accidents and to protect human lives, working closely with respected community leaders and citizens, such as the members of the Plantation Key Colony Civic Club. I will be meeting with them just because it's important to me in that meeting that we establish feedback channels through which community members can provide their input, share concerns, and more importantly, suggest any changes that we'll consider because that is important to us. I plan to communicate this through message boards, newspaper notices, press releases via all of our social media platforms. And again, the reason why I'm here and I want to make these changes, and I hope that the community understands that there is a need for this, is because safety is our highest priority. We're committed to the safety of our members, our community, and more particularly the citizens and our young ones. So thank you very much for your attention and your time.
Thank you. Does anybody on council have anything for Lisette before she goes away? No? I thank you very much. It's much needed. I think we all know that the Colony and Indian Mound, there's another area that gets a lot of trick-or-treaters.
Unfortunately, last year with all the rain, I didn't have an opportunity to assess Indian Bound, but definitely this year we'll get there and we'll make the adjustments as needed.
Just as crazy as the other one.
I've
so
heard, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So
I just
thank you.
wanted to also thank you for your efforts. This is good. We should always protect our kids.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Yes.
And now the most popular man in all of Murata, Aaron. You're in front of my neighborhood now.
Thank you, Village Council, for allowing me to give an update again tonight on our project. Yes, we are moving really quickly through Plantation Key. Just to give everybody some updates, I'll try to work this thing. I'll go this way. Okay. So our project team, everybody knows who we are by now. I will mention that we have our project engineer with us tonight, David Mullen. So if there are any technical questions after I'm done, feel free. David will come up here and answer them. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I want to update the council and the citizens on our new project map. Basically, you can see kind of what we've gotten done. The green area at the bottom is all the pipeline that has been installed. We're currently in that pink zone, that next color, and we're about right at mile marker 88.5. So if you, Forest Tech hardware store, that's basically where our end of pipe is. So they actually had worked themselves so efficiently that they're waiting for some more pipe materials to come in. With lobster mini season right around the corner, they're gonna pause, drop back, do a little bit of cleanup, catch up some of their stuff that they need to do with the equipment and get some more materials in. So they're not planning to install more straight line pipe till the week after lobster mini season, that Sunday, which I think is August 3rd. So you'll see a lull. Now, I say that they're still going to be trenching because they want to get ahead with the trenching operation. So you'll still see that up to the week of mini season, I think up till Tuesday that week. But as far as pipe installation, that's it's on pause for the next couple weeks. Also, we've got a new update kind of on when we're going to be up towards the school zone. We were originally anticipating maybe even mid-August, which was creating some hurdles with law enforcement and coordinating with the schools. We're pushing that back till September right now, and we're currently meeting with FDOT. We've done some minor changes to the design, kind of in construction, looking at things several different ways to try to ensure that we have at least one northbound lane open, similar to like we did during the Tavernier crossing. But this will be a moving MOT. It'll be much quicker, but we're working through that right now. I'll have some more updates probably at our next meeting on how that's going to go. Let's see. Okay, and then I want to give you guys some more updates just on pipe quantities. This is a pretty big deal, but of the 34,000 feet of pipe, we've got 15,208 feet of new drinking water pipe in the ground. So that's a really big number. We've only been at this since March. As you know, the new drinking water pipe is being installed along US 1. The crews are working 24 hours a day, Monday through Friday. We completed the directional drill crossing, and our project is ahead of schedule. We're currently tracking March 2026 to hopefully have all the pipe in the ground. I'm going to give a little bit of traffic updates here. As everybody knows, I don't know if everyone has been here at all these updates, but basically the rolling steel pipeline installation, it's a rolling traffic control zone. So it's kind of a train of work. That zone is about 3,000 feet, and it normally moves up about 1,000 feet a week. So if we're in front of your business, I mean, the contractor is doing everything they can to maintain access. That's actually a contract requirement to do so. If somebody doesn't have access, definitely contact. There's some contact information at the end of this. Contact me and we'll make sure that that happens. But again, we move through the area pretty quickly. But that full zone is 3,000 feet. And one of the things that we're getting a lot of calls on, again, is, you know, people heading southbound that can't cut through the zone in order to get to businesses on the ocean side. One of the inconveniences is in that 3,000 foot, people going southbound, if they need to get into a business like the Tom Thumb or Forest Tech, FDOT allows some openings, and sometimes we don't know which ones they're going to allow till we get there. But for the general public, they need to drive all the way down the zone, come up a side street, and then come back up. And we understand how much of an inconvenience that is to businesses. That's why we try to get through as quickly as we can. But that's one thing that we just want to continue to let the public know. We get a lot of calls on that. We also see some people trying to cut through the zone, and it's dangerous. It's a safety concern. So we want to definitely get that word out there again. Like I mentioned at the beginning, we are going to pause for lobster mini season. The only work that we're aware of right now is Monday and Tuesday of that week. They're going to run the trencher, and then all MOT, so all barrels, everything will be off the roadway by Tuesday around midday, and then it won't be back up until Sunday the 3rd. So everybody will get a break from us for lobster mini season. Yeah.
But you have no plans on shutting down for the beginning of season on August the 6th, correct?
We get a list of dates from the Department of Transportation on which
They
dates.
didn't list that one?
Yeah, that wasn't on the blackout list.
Just FYI for the public.
Yes, ma'am. And I think one thing to that point, though, is they continue to do volume tracking throughout the Keys. If there's ever a significant backup or the volume is too high, FDOT notifies us, and we're able to move our traffic, our MOT equipment off the road. So if the main season is a big traffic event and they start seeing that we have too much volume, they will notify us and we'll get everything off. Just so we're ready for that as well. I want to mention another thing real quick, and we can get into maybe There we go.
Broke it, sorry.
This went out on some bulletins, and some people may have received this, but we got some questions about the installation process. You know, when you see that first train of work with the main pipe going through, there are some additional steps, and this is really helpful to kind of understand, you know, once we've laid the pipe, there's actually a cathodic protection, electrical conduit, and some cabling and everything that goes with that. So they come back and do that. They have to pave the road, obviously, and then they're basically repeating that process. And then they have to make some of these interconnections on step 7, where if you have a master meter near your business or near your development, they have to come back and do that. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. So it's kind of a misconception when you see that first initial rush come through, there's still a little bit of stuff we have to drop back and do. And I think some people have been calling about, well, you know, I thought they made it through the zone. Why do we still see this or that? So I want to start giving some more details on that process. So just to talk a little bit about that, you know, this is a couple images. A lot of the pipe they're installing at night. I know these images are a little bit dark to see, but as you can see, when they're putting these pipes in, those excavation and trenches are made dry. There's no water. They have to be dry. There's welding and everything that they have to do to assemble that pipe. And in order to dewater that, though, some of you may have seen those vertical big white pipes that stick up out of the ground. Those are wells that they can pump the water into to get rid of the water. So until the pipe is all installed and it's basically passed all its testing, we can't take those down. A lot of communities have called and said, hey, why is this still in front of my property? But until we get everything passed and certified and cleared for service, you guys will still see those up there. We've tried to work with people and you know, put cones around them or put different things to hide them as best we can, but we do have to keep that in place until the end of the project. The other thing, like where you see this little leg of pipe coming off the main dark blue pipe, that's an area where there's going to be a connection to the existing water main. And in those areas, we actually push some of the flushing and swabbing of the pipe to clean it out of there. So we'll leave in some areas an excavation and we'll plate it, make it safe. But that's another question we've got from a lot of people is, why is this still here? And that's why, because we still have to connect some of the pipe in those areas. So I just wanted to show a visual on that. And I want to talk briefly about hurricane season. You know, we have a hurricane preparedness plan. You know, nobody wants to be dealing with that, but we plan ahead for that. We make sure that there's measures taken so that even though we're a moving operation, we have a lot of materials, we have a lot of MOT equipment that has to get off the road. So we do have a full inclusive MOT plan. We actually met with FDOT and their emergency management in Marathon last month just to go over that plan with Department of Transportation as well as Monroe County to make sure we were all on the same page. And that meeting went really well. This is a little bit, I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but this basically shows you the measures we take when there's a hurricane watch and then the additional measures we have to take when there's a hurricane warning. But just rest assured, we've had several, you know, tropical storm events since we've been doing these projects the past 2 years, but on every one of them, we've been prepared. Our contractors stop what they're doing. They get everything out of the way to make sure that, you know, we don't have any issues during a storm event. And then with that, again, we're continuing to reach out to businesses ahead of our pipeline installation. We put out these maps. We have a public information officer that prepares mapping, and they meet with us and our contractor to get specifics on businesses. Any business that has any specific issues like deliveries or anything like that, that you will need to coordinate with us directly, make sure you reach out to us because we will meet you at your property site to make sure that we can handle any type of access issue. Now, we still have to put the pipe in the ground somehow, so keep that in mind. But thus far, everybody has been really helpful, and these meetings have went well. So with that, that's all I have. And this slide right here shows you how you can stay connected and get updated information. It also has phone numbers where you could reach me, the contractor, and if you scan the QR code, you'll get project updates if you haven't already done so. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Council, anybody else have something for Aaron? No? I appreciate it. I think you guys are doing great. We have no choice. We need water. So, but you've been really, really super about everything, and I greatly appreciate you, so thank you.
Thank you for the support. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Did you want to talk about the citizen advisory thing, or no? Is that going to be Carolyn for Parks and Recs? Come on up, Carolyn.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I'd like to begin our presentation, the report from the Parks and Rec Committee, with a celebration. And the celebration is of our Little Siren Swim group, which, first of all, finished first place in the state regional championships in Gainesville in May. And they have just come back from competing in the Nationals, the U.S. Junior Olympics this year, finishing in first place there. And I think we've got a whole lot to celebrate.
That's great.
And what we have not celebrated appropriately is some of our baseball team, which I believe won the districts in the past year, and so we've omitted that, and I'd like to have the opportunity, perhaps at another time, to celebrate that. But sometimes I think we don't realize the things that are going on around us in the park, and even our small little group, what we've been accomplishing. So what I'd like to do is do a quick report on the Parks and Recs Committee meeting, which we had on July 10th. It included the full Parks and Rec Committee, and including 3 members of the council that were there for the entire meeting, which was over 3 hours. And there was a broad group of people from the public. And this was specifically at the request and coordinating with the manager. We designed it to address 2 specific topics at first. The first topic was to validate or support the signing of the interlocal agreement between the Monroe County School Board and the village relating to the baseball field, which we like to call a multi-purpose field. But that agreement has now been signed, and so at the request of the manager, we wanted to make sure that that was agreed to by the committee. So when I finish, I'll turn this back over to you all. So that was the first thing. The committee supported that by a vote of 7-1. The second topic, which is what we limited it to this time, was specifically on which kind of turf would be used on that field. And that was important because, as the manager said, you can't begin to do planning and finance and so on until you know exactly what's going to be on the turf. And so the importance of recognizing that this is not just a baseball field, that's 5 months out of the year, but it is a multi-use field, which can also be used, softball, kickball, other practice kinds of areas, so for the rest of the 12 months. So there was no conversation about budget. That was not part of the topic. This was simply an overview, first of all acknowledging the agreement, and then secondly having the conversation about the distinction between natural turf and artificial turf. Let me start with the natural turf. And natural, of course, would be everybody's ideal. Everybody loves to have real grass. But there are some important concerns about that. One of them has to do with very expensive maintenance. So just think about our weather. Think about the amount of water that is required. And then, in addition to that, with anything but artificial, we have the use of pesticides and fertilizers. And all of these run into the bay. So part of our environmental concern is not just it'd be nice to have grass, but what is the price that we have to pay? We were given a number of models of some of the D1 schools and even some of the professional teams, some of which do have natural turf, some of which do not, but an acknowledgement that that is not only an enormous investment, But in many cases, those fields are used solely for that one particular use. They are not multi-use fields. And we had some commentaries from a number of the coaches. So that was the conversation in terms of the natural, having natural grass. When it came to the point of artificial, the first thing to acknowledge is that this is not the old AstroTurf that had, broken up tires and all that toxic stuff. There has been an enormous development and improvement in the use of different kinds of artificial turf so that they are now grounded with cork and different kinds of shells and, things that are natural things that stay underneath. The argument in favor of the artificial is that there's an enormous amount of flexibility for multi-use because the baseball field would be only 5 months of the year and not 100% of the time. So the flexibility of having artificial turf, there's less ongoing maintenance. There would be none of the runoff to the bay issues. Obviously limited water requirements, and we've just been talking about water and the extraordinary amount of water that would be required to keep a natural turf functioning. But actually, the committee felt that some of the most persuasive comments came actually from the coaches and some of the experienced players. One of our coaches, former Major League Baseball player, Olympic gold medalist, father, coach, who's played all around the world, was very outspoken about the fact that much as we'd all love to have grass, that the turf really was a better choice in terms of the uses that we have here. We had conversations from the other coaches and from a number of other people. There was a wide conversation in terms of ongoing public comment, but the committee voted 7-1 to support the fact that when the school board made their agreement, the school board's agreement was not necessarily you will have artificial, but they did say that all of the school projects within the county were artificial, and I believe Key West has had theirs for several years successfully. So the vote was 7-1 to support the use of the artificial turf, which then gave something to the manager then to be able to begin to make some planning and, outlines and so on. So before I continue, I just had a couple more things, but before I continue, since a number of you were there live, is there anything that was misstated or that I missed or we should say differently in terms of this report? Wow, thank you. Well, so our next steps are, as I understand it, I'm going to turn this back over to the manager, but our next steps are there is another Parks and Rec meeting scheduled in August, and what we've done is sorted out many of the details. We took just these two this time, but some of the things that will be left are things like the construction and the budget and the dugouts and the offices and all of those kinds of things, which will then be a part of conversations that we will begin to get more into depth with. And then a new consideration which was suggested, which is looking at some commemoration opportunities in this park. Citizens or students or athletes who have might be celebrated as a result of what we have. So may I turn it back over to you, Ron, or to any of you if there are any questions that I can be supportive of.
I thought of one after you asked, and then I thought of one. So during the actual baseball season, if with a multi-use field, we could use it, the village could use it in between games, assuming we have a long enough time span to do stuff. in
Yes.
between games,
I
right?
believe so. That is
And in
my
the-
understanding.
And in the past, or with grass, that's not necessarily true.
Well, exactly, and the challenge with anything except the artificial takes away that multi-use.
Yes.
And many of the sports groups, they'll have practice sessions like for soccer. There are the additional other sports of kickball and so on. So it means that the field would not be limited just to that amount of time when it's a ball field. It is referred to as a multi-use field.
Thank you.
Ron, is there anything that I should add that was missing or that?
Madam Mayor,
No, go ahead.
I always like to make a couple of points. One is that we want to repeat this every time. The ball field's owned by the Village of Alamorada. Nothing will happen there without the approval of the Village Council. So ultimately, all decisions must be approved by both the school board and by this council. So reassure that. Number two, the interlocal agreement that she referenced has been recorded, and it states in the agreement that 100% of all funds needed for renovation, construction of any buildings, et cetera, 100% are paid by the school board. There's been no offer or discussion of having the village pick up any of that expense. So any rumors to the contrary are not accurate. It's not my intention to recommend that we pay any money towards it. This is the school board's proposal, and we are looking at it as a partner, but we have not offered any financial consideration there. So I always want to make those points just to be clear. We did ask to go forward as far as a recommendation because the two other things that have to be negotiated are a baseball license agreement and a use agreement. And as the chair said, it's hard to have a negotiated of a use agreement when you don't know the type of turf, because the big deal is going to be the maintenance of it. That's been a problem in the past, is who's responsible for maintaining that grass field, and that's created some issues. And so going forward, I've asked 5 citizens to serve on a baseball field task force. One of them is here tonight. Captain Black, I think, came in. Brian Cohn, Tony Hammond. We have a good group of people, and I've committed that I will not move forward with any type of proposal to bring before you before running it past that task force, because there are people that are involved. Alina Davis and Jamie Engel are the other two. And so they have various opinions on it. They're not one side or the other. And so any use agreement or baseball license agreement, I'll run past them. The other consideration is the buildings. There are buildings on it is a proposed draft plan. It's a design plan. Design plans can be changed. So there's discussion about the need for a second building, how high they're going to be. We actually marked the field out so you can see where the buildings might go that were proposed. So there's a lot more to be done. Some people are thinking that bulldozers are going to start next month. We're about a year away. So we have a lot more to do in the interim as far as making decisions in conjunction with the school districts. I want to make that clear that nothing's really happening right away. I did want to get some direction from the council tonight, similar to what the Parks and Recreation Committee did. Number one, are we moving forward? I think the answer is pretty clear. Something's going to be happening. And if you wanted to make a recommendation on grass versus artificial, that would be helpful, because I can't negotiate a use agreement without knowing that we're going to end up there. The proposal from the school district is specifically for artificial. If for whatever reason we changed it, it all goes back to the drawing board, because their proposal is contingent upon it being artificial turf. And if we tried to change that, then I think we'd have to start the process again. So that's up to the council whether you want to do that. I'm in the process of negotiating with Mr. Pat LaFear, who's been to several of our meetings, to get these documents moving. But at this point, if you want to give direction, I think I've kind of individually spoken with you, and I think that the direction is we're going to at least continue the discussions, but with no agreements until you approve them by the council.
I'd like to see the 5 people on the baseball committee come in the sunshine, discuss like they did at Parks and Recs, and have it open to the community to input. I'd like to do that within the next couple weeks if we can arrange it. I think the 5 of them not being able to talk, not being able to discuss doesn't really solve anything. They need to be able to communicate, to talk, and to go back and forth. So before I'm ready to do anything, I'd like to have these 5 people who are more than qualified. It is a balanced group. I'm very happy with that. And I'd like to schedule something with them and the community within the next couple weeks, if that is agreed with everybody.
In response, we have already been in contact with all 5 members, and we are trying to set a date. Obviously, we have some budget issues and hearings and workshops we have to kind of do that on top of, but all 5 have indicated they want to meet. I purposely didn't want to have any meetings because there was nothing to really discuss at this point, but we're more than happy to have a publicly noticed sunshine meeting with the 5 members of the task force and the public. I'm still proceeding with negotiations with the school district because we have to have some documents. I'll be more than willing to, at that point, sometime, let's say mid-August, come back to the task force with those documents, let them have any input, and then bring them back perhaps at the September regular council meeting to maybe get some approvals. But once again, nothing's really going to be happening for months as far as actually seeing something happening on the ball field. But in particular, that use agreement is important to get direction as far as grass versus artificial at some point in time, because I can't finalize that until we know which direction we're going to want to go in.
Okay. Anybody have anything? Go ahead.
I would like to see us move forward. I think this is way overdue. I think the kids deserve it. I think the parents that are paying taxes in this town deserve it. As a parent of 2 boys that have played on that field, have done travel ball, I've been to many, many baseball stadiums and ballparks. And 10 years ago, that field was in bad shape. And we spent our own money and our own time trying to make it safe for those kids. And to have one field in this entire Upper Keys community that fits the high school and middle school level of size and everything for them to play, I think it's way beyond time that we move forward with this.
Go ahead, Don.
I'm in agreement, Anna. I think we need to just move this thing along. It's been kicked, the can has been kicked down the road, and I think we just need to we need to listen to our committees. We need to listen to these groups that you're putting together, and we just need to move this forward instead of continuing on it. And I want to thank you for your dedication to all of this. You were sick as a dog that night you here, but you came here and you worked. And I really appreciate what you did that night. So thank you very much, Carol.
Thank you.
Okay.
I also would like to support moving forward with the project. It's going to change as we go forward, as we've all talked about, that we had a tentative draft, but it's time to move forward. We need the multi-use fields. We need to move forward with this. We've put it off a long time.
Steve, do you want to say anything? Are we good? Okay.
Well, just to reinforce, the only 2 issues that were discussed or that were worked on were, one was reinforcing the agreement, which the manager needed, and the second was a committee consensus to go forward with the artificial. Now, that is obviously up to council, but those are the only 2 things. There's nothing in budget, there's nothing in details or any of those. Those things will be the next step after whatever you all decide is next.
So I also would like to suggest that we move forward with the artificial surface so that we can make some headway. You had a lot of good information at that meeting, and I appreciate you so for bringing all that together, and Ron, the part that you took in making sure that all those people were there to speak. But it's time, and if we want a multi-use field that we can do more things for our kids, I think we need to do the artificial.
Carolyn, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So do we have direction on that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't really need a formal vote. I just want to get a feeling from the council as far as getting the negotiations. I still want to have the task force meeting in a couple of weeks, and I'll bring any proposed documents to them and to the council before we sign anything. So I think we have enough protection for the public's interest that we won't take any steps without full involvement by the public and the council.
Thank you very much. Okay. Marnie, we have a new committee person?
Yes, ma'am. Our
William Todd.
Yes, William Todd at May 6th appointments. Emma Hadesy was reappointed to the Near Shore Water Regulation Committee. She has moved out of town and has resigned. Therefore, we're asking that the last application that we received during the push in the spring for Mr. Todd be considered for the completing the vacancy. It would run through May of 2026.
So I guess the council needs to have a motion to accept him in a second.
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
Okay, Marnie, you want to call the roll?
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marnie. Okay, moving on to mayor council communication. Deb, you want to start?
Well, I thought the peacocks was first.
Doesn't matter. Do you want me to do the peacocks?
Sure.
Okay. I know there's some people here tonight who want to talk about our peacocks in Alamorada. I have been working with the attorney from Portugal who set the whole thing in motion, where there has been complaints from the residents about the peacocks gathering in one place and becoming a nuisance, and they went ahead and hired a service, I guess that's what you would call them, to remove the peacocks. I was able to negotiate with them to the deal I made with them and with Marcia, who is our official animal control person and has total say over it, was that the peacocks will be left alone. I want our lawyers to maybe draft a resolution. I know Miami-Dade County, I checked into it, has something that people are not allowed to, birds, their nests, their eggs, just to leave them alone and not touch them. And I don't know, Lily, who's from Weiss Serota, if you know about that. John can probably handle it. And I would like for us to adopt the same thing with one condition that I promised Marcia and the lawyers who had hired that, what they're called bounty hunters. I can't believe they're bounty hunters for peacocks, but I guess there are. No one is to feed them. They can live their life very well on their own. And if we feed them, just like the cat rescue that I run, that we become their food source, so they will gather. And that's what we need to stop doing, is have them gathering in one spot. So by not feeding them, we'll keep our beautiful peacocks in Alamorada, which I think everybody wants, and they will be fine. They will forage, they will live, and they'll cruise up and down the old road that they have. So I'm asking the fellow council people tonight to agree to have a resolution brought up that I just talked about. So, anybody have anything? Go ahead, Don.
I agree, and I like the idea of not feeding them. Maybe we can teach them to start eating the iguanas when they're little. No, I think it's a good idea. I mean, the peacocks have been part of Plantation Key for a very long time.
I agree.
And maybe they won't propagate as much if they're not fed all the time.
You know, when in the world of feral animals, when you feed them, they do reproduce faster. They just do. And leaving them alone, they won't gather in one spot. And I've been working with a wonderful couple here who care greatly about the peacocks. But when it comes to the balance, we have to give and take. And the give is that they're going to stay in Alamorada, hopefully protected if we all can get the resolution done that I'm hoping for. And the take is that we have to give something by not feeding them. And so that's the agreement I made. So can we do the resolution? How do you guys feel?
Is there going to be consequences for the people that get caught feeding them?
You know, that would be Animal Control's department, Marcia. Just like the same thing with the chickens that we had before and everything. So, and if you know Marcia, you don't mess with that woman. I know her very well. She does a great job, and she will, you know, probably pursue you if you did. So, Deb?
So in that resolution, I guess we'll be able to see what those pursues, what would happen, because that is part of what the problem has become. Wild animals, and that is what the peacocks are. If you feed them, they come to you. They will. It doesn't matter whether we're talking chickens, birds, alligators, if you feed them, they will come. So yeah, something needs to happen. If you have, I want to be cautious with the resolution, because if you have a problem in your yard, there is a way of them solving their problem, whether that be calling Marcia, or they have an alternative to be able to remove the peacocks from their property. I didn't say do anything with them, I just,
Again,
Okay.
we can work with Marcia to fine tune what we want, you know, so.
well, yeah. We all know that we have the wild chickens, and it's hard to compare chickens to the peacocks, because the chickens are a domestic animal. Peacocks aren't classified as domestic. They're actually classified
Chickens
as
are
invasive.
Domestic, chickens are farm.
Barnyard.
Well,
barnyard.
okay, yes, but they have a different category. So we passed the chicken ordinance, and I hear more roosters than I ever have now. It's amazing. But anyway, I'm willing to read the ordinance or the resolution and see what it says.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm willing to move along. I think you've indicated that you've talked with the HOA about this, and that's what they're happy with that negotiation. Fine
And
to move
anything
along.
else? So are we good? We can have our lawyers work on something, and I'll have Marcia, or I don't know how that'll work, but I'll get you with animal control if there's, you know, we tie them up and hang them upside down if they
Should-
feed them. Excuse me?
I thought you were done, I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
Should that go through the county, since Marcia works for the county, actually?
Oh, of course, of course. She did the same thing with the chickens, with the lawyers. So it'll be the same thing, so yes. Okay? The public comment is going to be in a couple minutes, and you can talk about it if that's okay. All right? All right, so Deb, let's go ahead with the survey thing.
Okay, sorry. So I'm all for surveys and finding out who thinks what. But I do think that they need to be council approved, that we're going to have a survey, and they need to be written in non-biased ways. So I would like to see going forward that any council person can bring one forward, but it needs to be approved through council that we're going to do a survey, and that that the questions are screened or written by, so that they're not in a biased manner. If any council person wants to do their own survey, of course, they can do their own, but it should not be presented on the village's Facebook pages, or in the newsletter, or backed by the village. Not that we deny it, but just it wasn't condoned by the village, so therefore it wasn't approved by the village. It's not an approved survey.
Well, that would be me you're talking about, and if I stepped on anybody's toes, I'm sorry, but the way I feel about up here, we are 5 people who represent the community, and I didn't think those questions were biased. I just didn't. And you have
It's a
a right.
matter of opinion.
I was just going to try to say that's your opinion, and it's fine, but I want to know what the community thinks. I don't want to know what you guys think, really. I want to know what the people, let me finish before you're ready to jump in there again. I want to know how the people who live here feel. And this whole baseball thing has sort of been done, and I think everybody feels that way. It's not been really transparent. I talked to Ron about it. The last council I sat on, none of you guys were here, and I did 2 surveys, and no one on that council cared that I did them. So I apologize if I didn't get you guys' blessings. I'm fine with going forward, not doing it. And it's not that the village doesn't approve of the survey. I'm sort of questioning why you would say that. But again, I want to know what the people who live here, who don't come to the meetings, who don't have all the information, I want to know how they feel. So moving forward, I will make sure everybody's happy with everything. And if I stepped on anybody's toes, I apologize, but again, I did surveys before and no one cared on the last council, so my apologies.
Well, I wasn't on the last council, but I did care.
Okay, well, I didn't
Okay.
say you didn't care.
I know,
And
I know,
I'm
I'm
telling
just telling-
everybody to voice your opinion on with this survey. And again, just like 200 people did the freebie survey, which, whatever, and that made a difference in how we voted. So I just think people should be able to say how they feel. So having said
that being said, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do surveys.
I know that.
I
I'm not arguing with
encourage
you.
us to survey, because you're exactly right. We need to know what the people,
100%.
but I think we need to do them a little bit different
That's
than
fine.
we've been doing them,
That's fine.
okay?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Enough said? Okay. All righty. Ron, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, I just have one item. At several meetings, we've talked about having someone do grants for us. At our budget review task force, one of the members, Dr. Larry Dalton, is here, and he made a specific recommendation that we hire a grant writer to go out and secure grants. I brought it up that I was familiar with some grant firms, but because I knew some of the people that might be doing it, I signed that task to our deputy village manager, Sheila, who I'd like to maybe do a 1-minute, 2-minute explanation of where we are. Briefly, we piggybacked onto the city of Key West to do their contract and bring it in at a very economical rate for what he's going to be doing. But I want to defer to Sheila to let her, because she handled the negotiations.
I'm all for it. I've been asking for a grant writer. Ron, you know that.
Yes.
So thank you, Larry, very much.
And in particular, too, because we anticipate some cutbacks at the state and federal level with grants. We wanted a firm that does this for a living, and they're out there already looking, even though they don't technically start till August 1st. I asked them to go ahead and start locating some potential grants, because it's a process. But nearshore water quality, some beautification projects, et cetera, things I think most people would support, but you got to go find them and ask for them. And so I appreciate Sheila's efforts, and I want to just let her give a brief summary.
Yeah, so we were attempting to write an RFP, which was turning into a long process. I reached out to Michael Langton and found out that he had a contract with Key West, and they had already competitively bid the process. So we just piggybacked off of that. The rate to us is $24,000 a year, so it's under the threshold to have to come to Village Council. So between myself and legal counsel, we crafted the contract. It's been signed and executed and goes into effect August 1st of this year, August 1st, 2025.
That's great. And it'll pay for itself in
Yeah.
million times with all the grants that we can get.
And then, of course, in the subsequent years, if it were to increase over the 25,000 threshold for Ron, of course, it would come to council for your approval.
Great job, thank you. Council,
No problem.
go ahead.
Yeah, so Ron and Sheila, I'd like for us to be able to keep track of that and see what it costs us to raise a dollar, and maybe report back in a year and let us know how this is going. I too have been begging other councils to get this grant writer, because we need somebody. We used to have somebody back in early 2000, so.
That was kind of my idea as well for entering into a one-year contract. This kind of is like a trial period,
Yeah.
so we can see, I guess, return on investment.
Yeah, cost to raise a dollar. Let's see
Yep.
what happens. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Anybody
you.
else have anything before she leaves? No? Thank you, Sheila.
All right, thank you.
Very, very much. Okay, now it's general public comment, and this is anything that is not a tab for tonight. So, Marnie, who do we have?
We will be starting with Professor Thomas.
Thank you. My name is Ken Thomas. I've been coming to the Keys since the 1950s, and I've lived in Alamorada for over 20 years. I have a PhD in finance from the Wharton School, where I taught finance for over 40 years. I've completed over 100 feasibility studies for private and public entities, including Congress. I've also done pro bono affordable housing work for our local Habitat for Humanity. Back in 2011, I worked with Jerry Wilkinson, God rest his soul, to successfully prevent the conversion of our historic Winley Key Park into a dinosaur park by a wealthy outsider. I'm here for a similar reason, to speak against the proposed parking handout for Anglers Reef on Winley Key. My independent feasibility study summarized in the July 19th Keys News, found it fiscally irresponsible with no public purpose. I have copies of the article if anyone's interested. Anglers Reef has already benefited twice at our public expense. First, they got approval for 52 units, which should have been at the most 47. Second, the village granted a 600-foot-long, 17-foot right-of-way to build a wall and cut off public access. Now they're asking taxpayers to fund overflow parking for a problem they created. Of the 52 taxpayers, only 4 have Islamorada addresses, according to our property appraiser, 2 of them being the HOA representative. About half are wealthy out-of-state landlords from New Jersey, New York, elsewhere, getting up to $900 nightly. At Wharton, we teach capitalism, which means a private solution to a private problem. When Hog Heaven needed overflow parking, they bought the adjacent lot. Those are good capitalists. Angler Reef has many private solutions. They could lease Hog Heaven space. They could buy a nearby 31,000 square foot parcel that's available for sale. They could buy and pave over 4 of their units currently for sale. They could use the 600-foot right-of-way we already gave them, and contrary to their own HOA rules, they could park on their private street and private grass instead of ours. The estimated $0.5 million taxpayer costs will be closer to $1 million, with ADA, lighting, utilities, soft costs, and the right-of-way value. Additional taxpayer costs include potential liability for accidents, parking code changes by our attorneys, continuing costs by our engineers that should be reimbursed, the loss of our right-of-way tax-exempt status due to private use, an exploding precedent for Sun Outdoors and other developments wanting equal treatment, and finally, the loss of our hammock green space enjoyed by 22,000 daily drivers. In summary, this project benefits less than 2% of our taxpayers at the expense of the other 98%. With no public purpose, it can't be financially justified and should be immediately rejected.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'm available to answer any questions.
Okay. Marnie?
Next, we have Jerry Wagner and Nicole Mateo.
Good afternoon. My name is Jerry Wagner, and this is Nicole Mateo. And you basically have done everything. We're amazed. There's not that many peacocks. There's a flock that's been here since the 1950s. There's about 50 to 60 of them. And honestly, between cars and dogs and, you know, for the little ones, snakes, cats, they don't live that long, so it stays at that level. So we're not talking about expanding populations there. I live back behind the sheriff's office and off of High Point Road there, and they pretty much come, except for when they're breeding, almost every morning, and I can see them while I'm having my coffee. They come in my yard, they forage around, they eat bugs. They also look for seeds if, you know, you have bird feeders up and some of them drop. They like that. But they're amazing. I mean, they're majestic. They're incredibly beautiful, and they're fun to watch, and especially when they bring their young. So thank you so much for what we're doing, what you're doing. We love them. I mean, neighborhoods love them. They travel pretty far from where they're roosting on undeveloped land. So I hope we truly can keep them safe in Islamorada because they're just wonderful.
Thank you very much. Wow.
We have over 1,000 signatures just in support from this little community. Remember, they're all that far.
No. I will tell you that I saw babies. Yeah, they're like this big with a mother. I thought they were born bigger. Shows you how much I know, but.
That's one that came last year from my yard. It's just a single chick. This is 2 months later, and she's teaching the baby to fake.
I know.
But it turned out to be not female, but a male.
Thank you very much. I know. Thank you very much. Marnie?
Next up is Mike Daler.
Hey there, I'm Mike. My wife and I are residents of Bordecal, home of the peacock kerfuffle. We were outraged when a couple of bounty hunters showed up in our front yard one morning and told us that they were there to remove 100 peacocks from Plantation Key without telling anyone. We complained to our HOA, and got paperwork from their lawyers telling us that there was nothing that we could do about it. We asked questions. We got more papers that said that we were going to be arrested if we attempted to do anything about it. So we let the secret out through social media. And we got papers that said that we were going to be sued for slander and libel if we didn't shut up. Oh, there are some of them right there. So I want to thank the residents of Plantation Key for standing up and saying, oh, no, you don't. You folks that created petitions for us, we have well over 1,000 signatures now, right? And you folks who are helping us with all of this. Thank you for helping us, and thank you for helping the birds.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Ms. Marnie?
I may have the last name wrong here, but I believe it's George Scott.
My name is George Scott, and I came down through Hurricane Donna in 1960, and I've been around a little while. Anyway, a few years back, a little history lesson. Oh God, I'm forgetting what I was saying. Anyway, I'm 100% in favor of the peacocks, and I think they should stay here. My grandchildren love to see them. My children, when they were here, they loved to see them. And where else in the United States on the East Coast can you see peacocks? We've got them wild here. And they're not in a cage, and they're not like a zoo. So I think we should keep them, and I think it's good for everybody. And we need to keep them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Marnie?
Excuse me. Next up is Captain Ed Davison.
For the record, I am Captain Ed Davidson, chairman of the IRS 501c3 Florida Keys Citizens Coalition, and also a former four-year elected member of the school board. The 24 June 2025 Ballfield Artificial Turf briefing during the Founders Park Master Plan update was the first actual televised and Zoom public report to the citizens of Islamorada after 2.5 years of largely undisclosed development of and widespread lobbying for the school system's conceptual plan for the $6 to $7 million bulldozer-installed, artificial turf-upholstered commercial stadium office complex with significantly expanded year-round usage by multiple sports programs that the citizens don't know much about, and imported promotional events. After all, the school board has already approved 2 substantial design-build contracts without publicly consulting Islamorada taxpayer park owners at all. The current underway contract, having been authorized at their 11 February consent agenda with no board discussion at all and no public comment allowed. But the most usage rights the school board ever had, this is the permit, was 2:30 to dark, Monday through Friday only, with specifically no weekends for 19 weeks a year from January to May. They have no entitlement to build a stadium office complex they defaulted on building 24 years ago. especially as the carrying capacity, and this is the point, campers, the carrying capacity of the park has been used up by other parks construction in the 24 years since then. We built facilities for the sheriff, for the fire and rescue, for other government functions, so the carrying capacity has been used up during the 24 years of their default. The very limited public discussion available to Islamorada taxpayers has been dominated by self-proclaimed AstroTurf experts who are in fact dedicated turf lobbyists and advocates. And they've made many biased claims that have not proven to be entirely factual. For instance, at the 24 June hearing, when ardent turf lobbyist Richie Russell blatantly claimed at Timeline 624, look it up yourself, that the existing field of God's green grass rapidly degraded to a, quote, artillery range that was dangerous to children. School's facility director, Pat LaFear, the only real expert in the room, directly contradicted such misstatements at Timeline 625 by adamantly declaring on the record that the Founders Park natural grass field had never been dangerous and was a safe surface to play on. Expanded use caused major ball field maintenance costs are still being concealed from the Islamorada taxpayers. Here's why. The ball field was originally intended only to support Coral Shores High School program of about 13 annual games for about 28 varsity and JV players. But turf advocate Richie Russell has repeatedly stated he no longer refers to it as a ball field but as a multi-sports facility, and further refers to more than a half a dozen new and expanded sports programs he intends to promote and host at the AstroTurf Stadium and concession stand year-round. Islamorada needs to make those decisions. They keep promising Moran that we're going to, but that ain't what's been happening. And Tony Hammond has publicly referred to hosting, quote, all of the sports all of the time. That's going to be expensive, and we are going to pay for it. Dramatically expanded high-density over-commercial of our family nature park is a main justification for turning nature grass ball field into a giant woven plastic rug that will wear better under such heavy uses to which the school board has no entitlement. But there's still nowhere near full disclosure by AstroTurf Stadium promoters. As the 24 June school board meeting, Key West member Darren Horan said plainly at Timeline 1 hour and 21 minutes, look it up yourself, it's entertaining, that the village should have to kick in as much as $2 million to help fund the initial cost overruns, with more expected in the future. Chairman Mindy Kahn has said similar things on camera at other times. Pat LaFear commended Ron for being in, quote, in lockstep with us in wanting to sign this, actually today originally. But that's not his job. His job is to be sure that the citizens are fully informed on what these costs are going to become. They're going to be significant. The school board is going to foist us into paying a bunch of money.
Thank you. It's 5 minutes, so appreciate it. Marnie, who's next?
Next up is Rich Russell.
And when you guys talk in the audience, if I can hear you all the way up here, everybody else can hear you too, so try not to, commentate people or whatever. Go ahead, Rich.
Thank you. For the record, I'm Rich Russell. My wife and I are owners and proprietors of First Family Rentals at 52 Russell Lane North in Islamorada. If I can, I'd like to request 5 minutes. I'll be speaking on behalf of the village-based Keys History and Discovery Center. I'm on their board of directors. So first of all, I'll start with recognizing my appreciation for each of you as council members. I do fully understand that it's not always a fun job, and I appreciate your service and your dedication to our community. I want to use this opportunity, maybe predictably, to voice my disappointment about the new multi-use facility survey. And let me preface by saying the mayor and I have been friends for over 60 years, which is quite remarkable because we're both in our 40s, right?
That's right.
I think our families have been inextricably connected for probably the majority of that time.
Yes.
I know her very well. I know her heart. I've seen her actions. I've seen the results of her actions. She is a true difference maker in this community, a very positive one. And for that, I find her integrity to be unimpeachable. So deductively, I'm thinking, when I see this survey, that she received some false information. And I think that led to the survey being framed with an obvious, was alluded to, prejudice, one that I may have had myself if I had that same knowledge base. There are several inaccurate statements within the preface, which in my humble opinion invalidates the entire survey. False statements include, but aren't limited to, the village and school board each having 6 months of control. Historically, it's been 5 and 7, 5 for the village, 7 for the school board. It's referred to, it is inferred that the village was responsible for the $1.2 million change order that's going to be needed if this proposal is actually approved. In fact, as Village Manager Ron Saunders said, the ILA is very, very specific about who is responsible for all associated costs of construction and renovations and any subsequent renovations. It's all the school board. The village will, if they get asked, it's just because somebody came up and said, hey, you know, it's like me asking Don if he'd help me put a new roof on my place over here. You know, it's not his job. It's laid out. Our village, as I said, our village manager stated this at the Park and Recreation Board meeting or committee meeting. You reiterated it several times. The preface also says that a combined 7 bathrooms will be created for the players' changing room, the coaches' room, and the state-required umpire facility. The truth is, 1 bathroom is for the team, 1 is for our coaches, and you had to have those separate. And then by law, we had to have something for the umpires, and they had to be able to go to the bathroom. That's somewhat new and standard, but Key West had to do the same thing when they were just building their facility. The other 4 bathrooms will be for public use. Perhaps more significant are the omissions in the preface, like what these renovations will add for us as a village of Islamorada during the 7 months of full control. These provisions can assist with glaring deficiencies that exist in our community. Field can be used for youth, female, and male soccer teams, youth, female, and male lacrosse teams, youth flag football, youth softball, youth baseball, adult kickball, adult softball, and the proposed amenities, if they get approved, again, they have countless use opportunities, particularly in light of the fact that the school board is going to air condition those locker rooms and some of the other amenities. So what will you gain? You're going to gain 4 public bathrooms. You're going to be able to use, you can use the dugout for whatever purpose you want. I'd suggest maybe a cool-off area and special events. That's always pretty necessary when you're sitting out there in 95-degree heat, and a lot of folks that are up in age, like me. They can serve the youth and adult groups identified earlier, places for them to go in and change or just cool off. They'd be a great addition to the village summer camps. They can be a place where village staff can meet or perhaps just cool off. All of those positives, in my estimation, were omitted to the preface. I thought that's pretty important. I also thought it was very telling that the results of the latest Park and Recreation meeting about artificial turf were it was highly debated, and subsequent approval or support was made almost unanimously, 7-1. And while there was 1 dissenting vote, I will tell you that going into that meeting, if you were to ask me my personal feeling, I think there was going to be 5 people against it. But those folks listened. They were with an open mind, and they heard from experts, and they all of a sudden realized that some of the information they had been receiving was inaccurate. And I think that there's like a reoccurring theme here.
Thanks, Rich.
Am I 5 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Gosh, that was quick.
I know.
Thanks, Sharon.
And I enjoyed it all. Thank you. Care. Marnie, who's next?
Next up is Barry Ray.
Oh, he's got a peacock feather. Oh, very good.
All right, greetings, Barry Ray, Islamorada. And yes, we celebrate peacocks, all right? They are wonderful, but we should not walk into this just going, hey, we're going to protect the peacocks. we should learn a little bit about them, make sure that we have a program in the village that does some type of monitoring so that we do keep tabs on them. We are aware of what's going to happen. They are technically an invasive species, kind of like chickens are, all right, even though chickens have been around for longer. But they haven't proliferated as much, until lately. Now we see chickens everywhere. But we really should do the other side of the work. I'm Florida Keys Environmental Coalition Executive Director, and I believe in doing things the right way. So I'm going to implore the village as we create this ordinance that we use some of the talents of our staff. Unfortunately, Pete is just adamant that we don't need invasive species here, but I still want his opinion on how to do this properly, okay? And I'm more than happy to volunteer to help with those thoughts and those processes. So the other thing to talk about tonight is this sports complex. And no, I'm not a fan of the artificial turf. I hope that if we have this next phase of meetings with the group that Ron has put together to be specifically, attentive to this, that we treat this as another opportunity for a community discussion. We definitely need a workshop on this, not just a committee making decisions and making recommendations. I applaud what I saw the other night from the Parks and Rec Committee. I've said this for a long time. The most wonderful part of our village are those who volunteer, and that just shows it all over again. So I'm not going to take 5 minutes, but I wanted to at least comment on those things. And there was one other thing I was going to comment on, and now I'm not remembering exactly what it was, other than to thank the construction crew that's doing such a wonderful and rapid job, for our pipeline. They are just phenomenal. I'm amazed how quick they're going. Everybody has a positive attitude about it. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate the comment on the, maybe we'll make you the peacock counter. We need that. There, Marnie?
Okay, next up will be Mr. Wishmeyer on Zoom. Okay, Mr. Wishmeyer, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you. Joe Wishmeyer, Plantation Key. I wish I could have been in there in person, but I'm busy getting stuck on a boat with a mechanic. So I'm not as prepared as normal. But the first thing I want to do is thank our new manager, Ron Saunders, for putting together a committee for the budget. I attended that budget workshop, meeting, whatever you want to call it, and it felt really good to have the public get an idea and participate into what's going on with our budget, rather than just having all of a sudden, well, here's the numbers, take it or leave it, that's it, you're stuck with it. So it's certainly appreciated, and I hope we have more of these coming up. I know you're going to discuss the budget and some of the budget issues here later tonight. I'm hoping to still be on Zoom for that, so I will talk to you about that then. As far as the baseball field goes, I know there's still going to be lots and lots of controversy, and from what I understand, even the school board tonight has now on their agenda for a discussion, there's quite a few of them that actually want a portable concession stand so that it can be used at Coral Shores and Founders Park. So that might be something you all want to look into, just to make sure that we've got all our facts straight. So I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Marnie?
Next up is Tony Hammond.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Council. Tony Hammond, 246 Jasmine Street, and I'm one of the ones that years ago, when I started baseball, I was an old school natural grass only guy. I went to Key West, coached a JV ball game down there, and then have interviewed the coaches while I was there, and have since interviewed a number of baseball people about artificial versus natural grass. And as we heard over and over and over in the meeting the other evening, I about the only way to go is with artificial turf to make it usable year-round here in this particular facility in the Florida Keys. I've spent all day working on figures, numbers for what it would take to maintain the sod on the field. I'm not going to go into that with you tonight. I want to remind you that the drawings are all conceptual. You heard our village manager say that our interlocal agreement says the school board is responsible for the utilities, for maintenance, and no for additional funding coming from the village. If you decided to do that in the future, that's your call, that's your choice, but certainly not. These are conceptual drawings, and we've got to stop making up more than that. I extremely resent the fact that Coach Russell is being vilified, or that there's some conversation about there being some clandestine meetings moving this forward. That is absolutely not true. And then the last issue I want to address is the bias that I read into the survey. I completed the survey. Any survey that's done that has any bias in the questions invalidates the survey. And in terms of education, it would both be invalid and unreliable. And having the person's name added to it further invalidates it. So in moving forward and sharing you up, we're friends and we've been friends all of our life, but I just want to caution the entire board about surveys like that, make sure the group is in agreement on it and moving forward. I want to commend Carolyn Whiteman for her comments. She did a great job in her presentation, presenting the facts as they appeared, as they went forward in the meeting, and I look forward to what we will be doing in the future and just continue to push this on down the field so we make this happen. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. Marnie?
Next and last is Richard Black.
Richard Black, Village of Islamorada. Just a couple questions, or really just comments for tonight. As part of this group, task force, whatever you want to formally call it, I think we need a few things out of the village in order to be effectively, commenting, or even, many questions need answered. There was a kind of a rough finance sheet that was emailed out. I think Ron had sent that to our group, and it is, by rough, it is a very rough estimate. I think we need more hard numbers, and if we could get the village to actually, the council members to maybe help Ron or whatever, but we need more numbers, more facts. There's been many, comments by people about Brightview, which is they're the company that's in charge of taking care of the field during the high school times. Many of the high school coaches made comment that they're maybe not qualified, or they don't keep up with it, and they have to use outside funds, outside services to keep up with the field. That the Brightview is something that's paid for by Monroe County School District, and it's supposed to be effective in taking care of the field more so than us actually putting more effort into it. So maybe their size is not, covering the field or something, but that needs to be looked at as well. Also, something from the village, they're supposed to keep logbooks, and no one has seen these logbooks. So maybe somewhere about asking Brightview to keep logbooks about their actual time on the field, how many people are there working, their scheduling, all of that, and maybe compare that to what we're doing there as well. That's it for the ball field. Something else that I just wanted to add would be in the parking issues. The Village of Islamorada is a small place, and a lot of tourists travel here and have a lot of trailers. I mentioned it before a couple times. I would ask the village to look into some of the lots that are owned that are already cleared, both on Plantation Key and in the heart of Islamorada, and maybe putting up a kiosk and paid parking. So it'd be a way to generate revenue for the Village of Islamorada. It would alleviate some of these right-of-way problems, and we have the property. Let's use it. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Marnie?
We do have Alina Davis with her hand raised on Zoom. She did just do that, so it's up to you whether you would like to. All right. Okay, Alina, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
thank you so much. I've been listening to everything that has been going on with with your meeting. And I cannot more agree with Richard Black. So during our Parks and Rec meeting, we had so little information. The problem is we have no information on who is responsible and how much does it cost. We have no dollars on what the school board was paying for water. What does the village pay for water? What are the responsibilities exactly? When I received the information that Maria Baggiotti provided, I was surprised to see that it's the school board that is responsible for the maintenance of that baseball field 12 months of the year. Did anybody else know that? I didn't. I had always thought that the school board did this, and when baseball season was over, it was the Village of Islamorada. But that is not the information that Maria gave us after the meeting that the Parks and Rec had. So we really need to check, dot the I's and cross the T's, because we do not have the total information on what the cost will be for turf and what the cost will be for maintenance on grass. The school board has been supposed to be responsible for the maintenance of that field that they have called unsafe and third world. And that is why I was the lone dissenting vote on that Parks and Rec meeting. So I hope that before you all go forward with, oh, we're all in on turf, you ask the questions that really need to be answered. How much is this going to cost, and who has been responsible for the deterioration of that baseball field? Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Marnie, is that it?
That is it.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the consent agenda. Anna, do you want to read something before I turn it over to Lily?
Yep, you ready? Okay. On tonight's consent agenda, on item C, resolution awarding professionals for engineering, architectural, and surveying services. I am disclosing and abstaining from voting on this item or resolution on tonight's agenda due to a voting conflict under the state ethics law. I am a principal of the surveying firm Massey Richards Surveying, which is under consideration as an approved vendor for future award of surveying services.
Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead, Ms. Lilly.
Yes, good evening, everybody. We are into the consent portion of the agenda tonight. These items are of a routine nature, and council members have reviewed these items in advance and sought the advice of staff as they felt necessary. There will be one vote on the consent items tonight, which are Agenda Section 9, items A, B, C, D, E, and F. Those are tabs 2 to 7. If anyone would like to pull an item from consent, he or she should state so now. Thank you.
Anybody, council?
I just have a question in relationship to do we need to pull that because she is abstaining from that?
No, ma'am, it was just a disclosure at this time.
All right, because she's included in the vote. That's the reason I didn't know.
Yes, she will not be voting on that item, as she disclosed.
Okay. But under a consent, she'd vote for all of them.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
See what I'm saying?
So, okay, we can pull that item then.
I'm not asking, I'm just...
Yes, that's fine, we can pull that item, so there's a separate vote, Mayor, if you will.
Okay, so that is C? Okay, all right, we'll pull then C, okay? Don?
So I move to approve the consent agenda except for item C, which has been pulled.
And I second.
Marnie, would you like to call the roll, please?
Vice Mayor Don Horton.
Yes.
Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman.
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis.
Yes.
That motion passes 4-0.
Well, Anna can.
Anna can vote on that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you so much. And
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards.
Yes.
The motion passes 5-0.
I'm trying to keep you included.
Now I move to approve item C on the consent agenda.
And I'll second that.
All right. Marnie?
Okay, Vice Mayor Don Horton.
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis.
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman.
Yes.
Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Yes.
That motion passes 4-0.
Okay.
Mayor, we could take public comment on any of those consent agenda items?
Oh, yeah, we were
Does
supposed
any-
to, weren't we?
Yeah, does anybody have public comment on the consent agenda, Marnie?
I don't have anyone signed up for it.
Okay, all right.
Got through that one.
Okay. Let's move along then. So Lily, would you like to read?
Can we take a second and introduce Lily? I don't think we did at the beginning of the meeting, did we?
Lily, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you for having me here. I am helping John Quick, my partner. I am a partner also at White Sirota, and I used to work in the village many years ago when I was a
Really?
young lady.
Really?
Worked on the wastewater project and other extensive projects, so I'm glad to be back.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank
Well,
you.
we welcome you very much, so thank you. All right. So, would you like to read the next tab? I believe we're on 8, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
This is tab 8, a resolution of the Village Council of Islamorada, Village of Islands, Florida, declaring the proposed millage rate for fiscal year 2025-26, establishing the current year rollback rate and the date, time, and place for the first and second budget hearings as required by state law, directing the interim finance director and village manager to properly file the certification of taxable value via E-Trim, directing the village clerk to transmit the resolution to Monroe County Property Appraiser pursuant to the requirements of Florida statutes and the rules and regulations of the Department of the State of Florida, Department of Revenue, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you very much. Okay, council, if we're going to go ahead, Ron?
Yeah, just a brief explanation. There is a statutory process for approval of budget. So tonight, we're bringing up the tentative millage rate. We'll have 3 budget workshops, August 5th, 6th, and 7th, for the public to come in and get input. And then the final approval will be sometime in September. So we have several more hearings, but tonight we have to make a decision because we have some deadlines to do that. And so the process tonight is just setting a tentative millage rate. Over the past 6 years, the proposed millage rate to start out has been 3 mils or 3.2 mil, up to 3.2. So we picked that. It's a tentative number. It's just something to start with, because once you start the process, you can no longer increase that millage, you can only decrease it. And so I want to say publicly that our intention is to decrease it. We are looking for some savings. I do want to point out, though, that there are some uncontrollable costs that we're going to have to take into account. Specifically, we have a fire rescue and law enforcement. We have some collective bargaining agreements that people are guaranteed raises. They're the only ones that are guaranteed a raise, but those are costs that we're going to have to absorb going forward. Also, our Florida retirement system, FRS, we have required contributions that will be increasing. Then, like many homeowners, we're going to see windstorm insurance and hazard insurance increases. I estimate those increases to be a minimum of $1 million. So uncontrollable costs, non-discretionary costs, we're going to increase our budget without any discretion by over $1 million. Having said that, we are looking for some cost savings. We did have the Citizens Budget Task Force that did a great job, came in and gave recommendations. Several of you attended in person or online. They had some good recommendations, a couple of which I would like to implement. One is going to be hiring freeze. For the next 2 months into this fiscal year, we're not going to hire anybody else. We're going to keep the workforce as is. We are looking at maybe eliminating some vacant positions. We're also looking at reducing overtime. Perhaps you can't really eliminate it because of the circumstances, but we need to get better control over overtime. Starting tomorrow, I'll be meeting with department heads and asking them to come forward and justify their budget, basically zero-based budget, not how much more you need, but tell me why you need everything. And we're looking for some efficiencies there as far as costs go. It's a difficult process. We've already seen the Monroe County Commission, what they went through this past week, and it was not pretty. And we want to avoid the kind of massive layoffs that they did and some of the decisions they had to make, which are very difficult decisions. And the other thing to keep in mind is, as we cut, we also have to keep in mind that there's things going on at the state and federal level, for example, FEMA. With hurricane reimbursements, we've had several meetings. Our Fire Chief Abel is also our Emergency Management Director. We've had discussions about what may or may not happen going forward. We have hurricane reserves. We may want to beef those up. That's one reason the county made so many cuts, is they wanted to increase their reserves for hurricane preparation. So that's the other factor to keep in mind as we are cutting the budget. Do we want to replace some of those dollars for hurricane reserve? So going forward, this is the first meeting. We're going to have a lot more input. I'm going to have another meeting of the Citizens Budget Task Force, because before they didn't talk to each other, but now that we've had a public meeting, they've asked for another meeting. We'll do that again. We're going to get input from the public as far as potential cuts. We had some great input. Dr. Dalton is here. I've already recognized him tonight. He had some great suggestions, some of which I'm mentioning I think we will going to follow. So with that, I'll just open up for any questions.
Okay, council, does anybody want to say anything, or should we open up public comment to hear? Or we're good?
Public comment first.
Yeah, okay. Marnie?
Okay, first up is Sue Miller.
Sue Miller, Lower Matacumbe. It was really interesting and great to have the task force for the budget meeting this past week, and I was really impressed with the amount of research they did and the ideas and questions they had, and I hope that a lot will be implemented. It was a little disappointing to me to see the agenda tonight where we're suggesting that we need a 3 mills millage rate approved for the trim notice. With that, we also have increased the value of Alamorada by $560 million since last year. So that alone should increase the taxes significantly. If we, at 3 mills and with the $560 million, we will be increasing the amount of taxes coming out of our property owners by 27.35%. If you listened to what the task force said this week, it was, let's cut. Let's not increase, certainly not by 27%. And I'm glad to see Mr. Saunders suggesting some of the things that he suggested in a way to reduce our expenditures. But we have been spending like there's no tomorrow, and we need to get it under control. And I think that the first thing that we can do is show that we're serious about it by reducing the millage rate tonight to show the people of Alamorada that you really do take this seriously, that we need to reduce our costs. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Marnie?
Next up is Dr. Larry Dalton.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, staff. As always, thank you very much for your service and your time and effort. Ron, thank you very much for implementing some of the suggestions that we had. I was honored to be able to serve on the Citizens Budget Advisory Task Force. And one of the main emphasis that we put in review, and particularly as we looked at the tax revenues, is trying to decrease the amount of taxes that our citizens and particularly our taxpayers pay. And as we look at increasing property values, The amount of money that is needed for this citizens group, or I'm sorry, this community is too high. Our budget's too high. It needs to be reduced. And the only way to do it is to really force a decrease in revenue. I would strongly encourage you to decrease the ad valorem tax rate by 10%. Okay? Not 80%, not 90%, 10%. Okay? We don't need to continue to go up and up and up. Okay? We can reduce costs by 10%. We can reduce revenues by 10%, and still there's plenty of money. We're $1.6 million over budget. When you take out, or not over budget, but our income was $1.6 million over what we needed 2 years ago. And again, I strongly encourage you to decrease the ad valorem tax by 10%. Thank you.
Thank you. Marnie?
We have no one else signed up.
All righty. Council? Does anybody want to have a discussion? Anybody got something to say?
Yeah, I tend to agree with the speakers tonight. I had similar hesitancies about tonight, starting at 3. I definitely am in favor of reducing that amount and starting that out from the gate. So.
Okay. Deb, do you want to say something?
Sure. I also have hesitations of starting at 3, but I also have been trying to do some research on my own and find out what happened at the county, and I don't have all the answers, and I want to protect the village in the money we do need going forward. There are places that we can save, of course, but from what I can figure out, the items that Ron referred to a few minutes ago, such as the fire, the police, the windstorm increases, and you said a couple others, that, as well as the county lost some sales tax funds, and I haven't been able to figure out how that relates to us yet. And the fact that the FEMA requirements are changing. I want to be very cautious in keeping our reserves and us able to do what we did to put this town back together in 2017. It is a proven fact through studies that the sooner you put a town back together after a natural disaster, the more businesses will stay in business. The longer they're out of business, the less people can come back. It's harder and harder and harder. And I think we worked very quickly as we could then. And part of the reason we were able to do that is we didn't have to go out for loans and right off the bat. We had money to work with. So I just want to be cautious on this first go-round until we have more information. And I know that the finance department, Hattie and Ron, are working overtime to try to come back with all those answers and those questions. And we don't have them tonight.
Anna, do you have anything?
No, I agree. I mean, it's just a starting point. We're not saying that's where we're going to go whatsoever. And we have lots of room, but we need to just trust our department heads to do their job, do their due diligence, and really come up with the real numbers so that we can come back and really do our job.
Don?
I think Ron has sent the message that he wants, he is going to be diligent in working on reducing and making the cuts where we can make. In the past, as you said, the past 6 years, we've started off at this proposed millage rate at 3 or 3.2. I think the message, I'm hoping the message that comes out of our council is that if we set it at 3.0, that the message out of this body is that, at least out of me, I'd like to see rollback once we're all said and done. I know that there is the unavoidable increases that are there. But I think that there are places that we can start looking and relying on a committee and making some cuts without harming our employees. Our employees are our lifeblood. They're doing a wonderful job, and I really got to thank Hattie for jumping in here and doing what she's doing on the finance, and she's very capable of that, and I have a lot of faith in her, and I'm thankful for our staff. So I don't want to hurt our staff in any way, but I do want to see where we can make possible cuts.
Well, I agree with Steve. I have a problem with the 3, but the only way I would go with the 3 is if we do what you said we're going to do, and I want rollback too. I feel like Henry Rosenthal, because that's all he said for 2 years is rollback, rollback, and I agree with him. Our taxes are just crazy, and I think we owe it to this community to, there's things we can cut, we all know that. So I would make a motion to do the 3 just to start forward with the promise that we do our best to get it down for the people in this community. And so, anybody else?
You made a motion.
Did
Yes,
you make
I
a motion?
Yeah, I made a
I'll
motion for
second
3.
the 3 with the idea that we're going to come in under. I'm
I
not sure
agree.
at this point of time, I'll say I'll go to rollback.
Okay. you don't
But
have to.
I want to see the figures, and I want to see some of these consequences of what's happening that we don't have a lot of control on. We love our town. We need to protect our town.
Okay. Marnie?
Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
Excuse me. Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Sorry.
Doc?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Doc.
I have a
Councilmember
new
Steve
name
Friedman?
No.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
That motion passes 4-1.
Okay, thank you. Lily?
Yes, the next tabs 9 to 15 are the annual assessment resolutions for various assessment areas in the village. Due to the mail notices were sent timely for these assessments, but the publication notice was not timely. So tonight, we should start the public hearing, take public comment, and then we should have a motion to continue this item for further comment on August 5th, the next meeting.
August 5th would be at the budget hearing.
Would be the
We're going to have a
next-
special call first, correct? So
Is
that's
that
what she's
correct,
talking about?
Manager, is it the August 5th meeting?
Yeah, it would be piggybacked onto
Okay,
the budget
special call.
workshop.
Okay,
So I'll read each item, then we'll have public comment, and we'll have
Okay.
a vote to continue the item.
got it.
Okay. The first item is tab 9, a resolution of the Village Council of Isla Mirada, Village of Islands, Florida, relating to the provision of stormwater management services, reimposing stormwater service assessments against certain real property within Isla Mirada, Village of Islands for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, approving the stormwater assessment roll for the stormwater service assessments, providing for collection of the stormwater service assessments, and providing for an effective date.
Do we want to open up public comment after each one?
Yes,
Marnie?
ma'am, please.
Marnie, do we have anybody?
We do not.
Okay, so Miss Lilly, continue, please.
Do we need to make a motion on each one?
Yes, I would ask for a motion to continue this item to the
Oh, I thought we were
August
going to do it
5th.
in one group. We're not?
We're gonna
Okay,
do each one, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to continue it to August the 5th at 5 o'clock, is that right?
5:30.
5:30? Oh, sorry.
I thought we were going to do it early.
Thought we were going to do it at 3.
I said 3.
I understood it was after
All
the
right, well.
workshop, but
The budget workshop starts at 3, so we were trying to tentatively say maybe 5 or 5:30. It's whatever the pleasure of the council is.
August 5th. August 5th, is that what we're talking
Yes, it's the first budget workshop.
We're not lost,
So-
are we?
so it's August the 5th at 5:30, correct?
For this, but we,
Yes, for
Okay.
this, for the
all right.
assessment.
Did you make a motion?
Yes, well, I
Second.
tried to.
I got
Yes,
it.
she did.
Second.
Okay, Marnie?
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
The motion passes 5-0.
Okay, Miss Lilly?
Thank you. Item 10 is a resolution of the Village Council of Isla Mirada, Village of Islands, Florida, relating to the collection and disposal of solid waste in Islamorada, Village of Islands, Florida, reimposing solid waste service assessments against assessed property located within Islamorada, Village of Islands, Florida for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, approving the rate of assessment, approving the assessment roll, and providing for an effective date.
Marnie, any public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay, council, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to rehear this on August the 5th at 5:30.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Go ahead, Marnie.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
11.
Tab 11, a resolution of the Village Council of Islamorada, Village of Islands, Florida, relating to the construction and funding of wastewater collection and treatment facilities within the North Plantation Key Assessment Area, reimposing special assessments for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, approving the assessment roll, providing for collection of the assessments, and providing for an effective date.
Marnie, any public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay, council?
I'll make a motion to move this to August the 5th at 5:30.
Second.
Go ahead and call the roll.
I need a
Councilmember
recording.
Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
The motion passes 5-0.
Tab 12, a resolution of the Village Council of Islamorada, Village of Islands, Florida, relating to the collection of wastewater fees and administrative costs within the Woods Corner assessment area, reimposing special assessments for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, approving the assessment roll, providing for collection of the assessments, and providing for an effective date.
Any public comment?
No public comment.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to move this to August the 5th at 5:30.
Oh, she's getting faster. Second.
Go ahead, call.
You can have the
call
next.
roll.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
The motion passes 5-0.
Item tab 13, a resolution of the Village Council of Islamorada, Village of Islands, Florida, relating to the construction and funding of wastewater collection and treatment facilities within the North Plantation Key Supplemental Assessment Area, reimposing special assessments for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, approving the assessment roll, providing for collection of the assessments, and providing for an effective date.
Any public comment?
There is not.
Go.
I make a motion. I thought somebody else wanted to. I'll make a motion to move this to August the 5th at 5:30.
Second.
Oh, we have a tie.
Call the roll.
Age before beauty.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
We'll go ahead and Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0.
14.
Tab 14, a resolution of the Village Council of Islamorada, Village of Islands, Florida, relating to the construction of wastewater collection and treatment facilities for the wastewater assessment area within the village, excluding the North Plantation Key, Woods Corner, and North Plantation Key supplemental assessment areas, reimposing special assessments for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, approving the assessment roll, providing for collection of the assessments, and providing for an effective date.
Any public comment?
There is not.
I make a motion to move it to August the 5th at 5:30.
Second.
Marnie?
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Tab 15, last assessment resolution, a resolution of the Village Council of Islamorada, Village of Islands, Florida, relating to the construction and funding of wastewater collection and treatment facilities for Phase 2 of the wastewater assessment area within the village, but excluding the North Plantation Key supplemental, and Woods Corner assessment areas, reimposing special assessments for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, approving the assessment roll, providing for collection of the assessments, and providing for an effective date.
Any public comment?
No, there's not.
Deb?
I make a motion to move it to August the 5th at 5:30.
Anna?
Second.
Marnie?
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0.
Okay, does anybody want a break, or are we good to keep going? Everybody good?
Let's get her done.
Okay, so we move to 16.
Tab 16, a resolution of the Village Council of Isla Mirada, Village of Islands, Florida, approving work authorization number 22 with WSP USA, Inc. for Lower Matacumbe Canals Culvert Restoration Project Construction Engineering Inspections Services, authorizing village officials to implement the terms and conditions of work authorization number 22, authorizing the village manager to expend budgeted funds, authorizing the village manager to execute the project agreement for work authorization number 22, and providing for an effective date.
Peter, would you like to come up, please?
Okay, good evening, Council. So this resolution, it would approve a work authorization with WSP USA. That's the firm that has been doing the village's canal restoration work, engineering work for about 10 years now. They do a fantastic job for the village. These services are necessary for a large construction project like this, just to ensure compliance with environmental regulations, permitting regulations, best management practices, and the grant requirements. This work is being funded through a grant. So we're getting very close to completing or construction of this project. We've been in planning for 5 years now. We do have a contractor procured for this. They are assembling their parts, and they expect to start in September. So if this is approved tonight, we do expect the work to begin sometime in September, possibly into early October. And the staff is recommending approval of this. And any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Council, any questions? Go ahead, Don.
Peter, I want to commend you for the work you've done here and the grant that you've got for this. This canal restoration down Lower Matacumbe is going to be fantastic on Palm Drive, on Sandy Cove, White Marlin, and there in that culvert that crosses across US 1. This is fantastic work, and it's not costing the taxpayers a ton of money to get this done, and really thank you for this. This is awesome. So I'd love to move whenever it's time.
I know Deb wants to say something.
I also want to commend, this is a total, I believe, of a $9 million project, and very little of that will fall to the village's expense. Please keep a close eye on the grants.
We will.
Okay. Steve, Anna, anything? Okay, is there any public comment or anybody? Peter,
No, ma'am.
I think we're good? Okay. So council.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Absolutely, yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thanks again.
Thanks, Peter. Okay, moving on.
Tab 17, a resolution of the Village Council of Isla Mirada, Village of Islands, Florida, approving the Second Amendment to the Monroe County State Wastewater Funding Agreement, authorizing the village manager to execute the Second Amendment, authorizing the manager to expend budgeted funds, providing for implementation, corrections, and an effective date.
Okay, so, go ahead, Ron. Yeah, no.
Yes, Madam Mayor. The legislature this year approved funding for the stewardship of grants of $20 million, but the proviso language in the budget says we need an interlocal agreement with the various entities. And so we've been trying to negotiate that, and we just need this amendment to move forward. So I recommend approval.
Okay, is there any public comment? Does anybody want to say anything, or?
I have no one signed up.
Okay. Deb?
Just for information to the public, this grant money is being divided pretty equally. There's provisions of when other municipalities or areas do not use it, of what to do, but it's 12.5% is being divided equally among the areas of the Keys.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yeah.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
We are flying here. Go ahead.
Tab 18, a resolution of the Village Council of Isla Mirada, Village of Islands, Florida, approving annual subscription fees from Paychex for the Village IT and Human Resources Department, authorizing the village manager to execute necessary documents, authorizing the manager to expend funds, authorizing waiver of competitive bidding, and providing for an effective date.
Jamie, hello.
Hello, good evening. For the last little over a year, I've been in the HR department, and in that time, I've been looking at our HR system and how it fits the needs for us. So I started reaching out to several software companies that do specifically HR and payroll functions, and I did demos with 4 different HR and payroll softwares. And we've narrowed it down to Paychex. And a couple of reasons we went with Paychex was, one, because a couple of the other providers wouldn't sign off on the Florida required type contract language that they would need to put in their agreements. And one was just the price was just way out of line. So we went with, we're recommending to go with Paychex. It's about a $1,700 a year difference from what we're currently paying for about 7 different systems that we use in order to process HR data, people, moving them through the life cycle of when we bid the job to when we hire them to when we offboard them and paying them. So there's about 7 different programs that we use, and this would combine all of that into one easy-to-use program for both the HR department, the finance department, and the employees themselves. So if I can
Anybody have a
answer any
question?
questions.
Anything for Jamie? Deb?
When you and I talked about this, we talked about the figure that you came up with for the new program. And you said, well, it'll vary by the number of people, and you took what you thought was an average. Was that a high average? What I'm trying to get at is the figure that you're telling us, that would not necessarily be the maximum, but that would probably be not more than what you're saying as to be our annual fees.
Correct,
Right?
because we pay on a monthly basis, and it's based on the number of active employees that we have during that month. So some months we have, for the most part of the year, we have a low number of employees that are considered active because we're actively paying them, they're on our payroll. But in the season, for Parks and Rec, for example, we have a high number of seasonal employees, and that's really where the fluctuation is, and that's only for about 2.5 to 3 months of the year. So we've taken like the max for the entire year, and so it will fluctuate from month to month.
So, yeah, it will fluctuate, but what you're stating here, I didn't write down the figure you said, about
It's 30,
$1,700 difference?
Yeah, annually.
Would probably stay pretty steady, be at least under 2,000 or something, you know?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Anna, Steve, anything? Is there any public comment?
There is not.
Okay, council? Mike? Oh, sorry. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Marty, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Sorry, yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks.
Tab 19, a resolution of the Village Council of Isla Mirada, Village of Islands, Florida, approving the interlocal agreement between Monroe County, Florida and Isla Mirada, Village of Islands to provide reimbursement funding from boating improvement funds during fiscal year 2025-26, authorizing village officials to implement the terms and conditions of the agreement, authorizing the village manager to execute the agreement, authorizing the manager to expend budgeted funds, and providing for an effective date.
Is Lisa, is she here? Oh, you look different. That's why I didn't recognize you.
I'm stepping in for Lisa tonight. Just don't ask me about the boat ramp. Sorry.
Not gonna.
So for the past 15 years, the village has been receiving funds from Monroe County to maintain the system of buoys we use to delineate the 300-foot idle speed zone from shore system that we have. We have been getting those funds each year from the county. We request those funds each year. We apply for them. It's a grant, it's a competitive grant system. Those funds come down from the state through their boater improvement fund. This year we requested $14,000 again, like we have the past few years. We were approved for that funding. So in order to disperse or to spell out the terms and conditions of the reimbursement for that, we do need an interlocal agreement with the county. So that's what you have before you here tonight. That's just to approve the interlocal agreement. Be happy to answer any questions. This is something we do every year.
Go ahead, Don.
So again, this is not money that's going to be costing the taxpayers of Islamorada. This is grant funding to be able to take care of these buoys.
That's correct, up to $14,000.
Up to $14,000,
yes. Now, from discussions with Lisa, those maintenance costs have been going a bit over $14,000, but the remainder of that is paid out of the Marina Fund.
Comes out of the Marina Fund
Yes.
and what we charge for that over there. Again, not out of taxpayers' money. Again, so all this talk we're
Right.
doing about taxing, we're finding other places that we can monetize or divert the funds and not have to come out of my back pocket, right?
Correct.
Great work. Thank you, Pete.
Anna, did you want to say something?
No.
Steve? Deb? Okay, thank you, Peter.
Sure.
Is there any
Thank
public
you.
comment?
No, there is not.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Oh, new people. Marnie, would you
Jumped in
call
on
the
that
roll?
one.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
The motion passes 5-0.
Lily?
Item, or tab 20 rather, a resolution of the Village Council of Islamorada Village of Islands, widely known as the sport fishing capital of the world, opposing the construction and operation of Alligator Alcatraz Migrant Detention Facility in the Florida Everglades.
Okay. Who is taking this one? Steve, go ahead. It's up to you. Turn your mic on, please, though.
Sure.
It's up-
I'd welcome public comment first to
Is
hear
that
what
okay
people have
with
to say.
everybody? Okay. Public comment?
We have Mr. Wishmeyer on Zoom. Okay, Mr. Wishmeyer, go ahead, 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you. You know, as Islamorada was known as the fishing capital of the world, one of our biggest things that we need to depend on is the Everglades. We've spent so much time on Everglades restoration, and we're trying to restore water flow. We're trying to do all these things to help out the Everglades. Yet now the federal government decides to put a detention camp out there, and nobody seems to even have any access to it. I remember on the news just the other day, the Archdiocese of Miami, the Catholics on Bikes went out because they can't even get into the center to administer to their Catholics on Sunday for their Mass. A lot of congressmen have tried to get out there, and maybe they can see a little tiny section. There is so much shadiness going on, and a facility like that, where is all the waste going? How's all this happening? So we need to protect our Everglades, and I believe as a village, we all need to stand up and support Mr. Friedman's resolution saying we do not support having alligator Alcatraz. We need to protect our Everglades, and one of the ways to do it is to stop from putting all these migrants out there and figuring out what happens to them and how they're being treated. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Marnie?
We have no other speakers.
No other speakers?
What?
I was trying to mute him as I was speaking.
All right, so there's no other public comment, right?
There is no more public comment.
Steve, I'm going to go back to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I just want to thank the folks that wrote in. We got a lot of emails about this subject, and I also want to thank the council for considering this resolution. I think it's really important to delineate this resolution from being something that we want to support and go on record on to let people know that we understand the importance of the Everglades and the Florida Bay to our economy. This has nothing to do with a detention or prison. It has to do with a development in the Everglades. I would be bringing forth this resolution should it be a school, a hospital, or a church that's going in there. So I think that's really important to understand where we're coming from on this resolution. I think a lot of you know I'm a backcountry fishing guide. I know firsthand what it's like when we see devastation coming down from the Everglades. I think some of you may recall when we had the Deepwater Horizon spill, that when a tar ball washed up in Key West, that tourism went down overnight by about 75%. So I think we all realize how important our environment and our water is to this community. And that's why I'm bringing forth this resolution, to simply say, we don't want any prisons, we don't want any development, and we don't want any incinerators. And that's another thing that's happening with this development that's going on. It's inviting others to think that if this is indeed a temporary detention center, as they've alluded to, that even one of the Miami County Commissioners last week suggested that when they're out, that's maybe a site that we should consider for our garbage incinerator. So I really think this is about just leave the Everglades alone, and I think that's why we're trying to protect our community, because of how we rely on that area and clean water coming south.
Okay, council, do you guys, discussion? No? Deb? No? Anna? No? Okay, and there's no public comment?
Correct.
So then I guess I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
If there's something that people, sorry, Deb, go ahead.
I just want to make a comment. I guess I should have done it before you started your motion. Do we need to? Can I go ahead? Okay. I think I would have liked it better if we were commenting about the good things that, like the I was looking up the initials because I always get it wrong, EAA reservoir that was just given some more funds and money and approval. You are exactly right that we need the water. And I remember those days when we were struggling, and so I would have just liked to focus more on that.
So can I continue then the discussion?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I think that there's been some argument against this, that this is not a local issue. And I feel that it is a local issue. I think that we're connected to it. We do have precedent where a previous village council has supported resolutions that ask the state and federal government for certain things. 2016, after the massive seagrass die-off, the resolution said the coastal waters of the village are connected to and dependent on the health of the Everglades ecosystem as the primary source of fresh water that serves as the foundation of nearshore estuarine environment in Florida Bay. I agree with Deb. I think that those things, that those measures, the fact that the state is taking over the construction of what is now a $4 billion reservoir is all the more reason why we need to send messages like this to keep that momentum going, because we do have record funding that's happening. And so I really like to present resolutions now and before disasters might happen, like we did in 2016, which instigated that resolution after that disaster.
I'll chime in here that I applaud your enthusiasm. but you're trying to equate the environment with the deportation of people.
No, not at all.
Well, that's what it seems like if we were going against it. So I have a hard time going that with you. I don't really think it's within our jurisdiction to do that. Protect the Everglades, 100 million%, but by going against this, we're basically saying we're going against what the governor is doing. That's how I feel. So, does anybody else want to say something? Dawn? Want to say anything? Anna?
Fine, you want, I'll say it, I don't care. Go ahead. It's not an Islamorada issue. It is not a Monroe County issue. It's not even in our district. We should not be involved. We wouldn't want them coming down here and getting involved in our business. I'm all for the Everglades and protecting the Everglades. This is a airstrip that's been in place for 57 years. They have not poured any new concrete that I've heard of. It's tents and porta potties. So, no.
I appreciate those comments. I think I recognize that it's not geographically, local, but anything that happens in the Everglades does affect us. There has been 20 acres of new pavement that has been poured in that area just last week that we've seen from aerial photographs. So while, yes, I think they're stating that they're doing everything they can to contain and do all that, but we still have industrial light intrusion. We have diesel engines. We have diesel fuel. The airstrip was there. It started and it was stopped after it began because of it being put on sacred native lands and that the potential to wreak havoc on natural habitat that use that area. So I think it is connected, and I think that there's potential for damage. And this is really, I've taken out any of the, any sort of allusion to us not agreeing with the detention center or the cost of running that to the taxpayers and concentrated on just the environmental impacts. And that's all I'm asking for in this resolution.
But
is
that's
support
not,
for
that's not what it says.
That's not what it says.
It's not what it looks
What
like.
part of
either.
it do you disagree with?
Pretty much all of it. And this is not Islamorada business. If you want to take this up, I think this should be taken up with, go to your Captains for Clean Water, go to your, what is it, Florida Bay Forever. Those are the people that should be dealing with this. This is not Islamorada city business.
Well, in March 2023, the Village Council passed a resolution in support of Florida House Bill 363 and Senate Bill 336, both aimed at regulating single-use plastic products.
Well, that's fine, but this is July 2025.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there's precedent there that shows that we can urge Tallahassee and the state and federal government to do things that are going to benefit our community.
I disagree.
Okay.
So that was in support of something that was good. Right now, our governor has dedicated millions of dollars to go towards Everglades restoration. We need to put faith in our governor that if he's going to put forth millions of dollars on a 57-year-old airstrip that still is existing out there, that he's not going to damage the Everglades by temporarily using a site that's previously developed. And even the Everglades Foundation is applauding the joint announcement between the governor and the Army Corps for all the wonderful work that they're doing and the money that they're pouring into there. I see it makes no sense that we would pour that much money and put that much effort at the state level and at the federal level, and on one hand, and then just assume that they're going to damage the Everglades in a 57-year-old site that's been previously developed. So I can't support this. It's a negative, and I want to, like that last one you mentioned, is a positive, and I think that's where we need to head.
I think that, Steve, again, you're focusing on the environment, but it's a detention center, so you're trying to get in by going to the environment. I have a problem with the lights at night there, which is an issue, but to me, this is way beyond what we should be sticking our nose into. And I have to agree with the other council members here that I applaud what you did, but it's not the environment you're trying to protect, it's the detention center. And to me, it's not, like I said, I can't do it. So again, Deb, do you want to say anything before we see a motion again?
Well, I'm kind of where Don is I can't wrap my brain around the fact that the governor is putting so much money and energy into the Everglades, the EAA reservoir and everything, and yet negatively affecting the environment. And yeah, there's some things that could be corrected, but I just can't support it because of the political implications. I am all for Everglades. I have sat here in the past and supported resolutions on plastic, on the water coming out of the plant, and salt plume, and all sorts of crazy things. I just can't put two and two together to get to support this. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Steve, you want to make a motion again to see if there's a second?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay, do I
Unless
have-
anybody wants to tweak any, I'm open to editing or any amendments.
Anybody have a second? Okay, so no second, then it fails, correct? Okay, all righty. Lily, the last one.
Last item, 21, tab 21. This is first reading of an ordinance of Isla Mirada, Village of Islands, Florida, amending Chapter 62 Utilities, Article 62-3, Wastewater Utility Policy, to amend 62-39 to add provisions related to wastewater backup policy, providing for repeal, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
AJ.
All right, good evening. The village wastewater currently lacks a formal policy outlining the responsibilities, procedures, and mitigation steps related to sewage backups. The residents have periodically experienced sewer issues stemming from both private lateral lines, failures, and blockages within the village system. The absence of a codified policy has resulted in confusion or inconsistent handling of such events, particularly regarding liability, response protocols, and preventative responsibilities. This new section provides a comprehensive framework to address wastewater backup incidents and ensures both the village and the property owners understand their roles. The policy is consistent with the industry standards and best practices for wastewater utilities.
Anybody have any questions for AJ before I ask for public comment? Here's my question. When are we going to Key Largo? Please, go ahead.
AJ, are you going to follow up with this if it's approved with a flyer to the homeowners so that they understand what this is and what their responsibilities are and what actions they need to take, you know, instead of calling you in the event there's a pluggage on their property and those kind of things?
So we still push if there is a wastewater issue or if you don't know, call us. We have a 24/7 response to that. I'd rather them call us out there, and if it's something wrong with our system, we will make those repairs. If you have some type of backup and you call a plumber out there and it's just it came up at the toilet's gurgling or something of that nature, and you call a plumber out there and it's not your issue, it's our issue, the plumber is going to charge you an emergency fee. So I'd rather them call us out there. We let them know, hey, our system is fine, it is on your side. Go ahead and call a plumber to take a look at it.
So can you develop some kind of flyer so that they understand what, where that line is and what their responsibilities are on theirs, and they can still call you?
Absolutely.
You will check it out, your people will check it out, and then they'll make a determination, right?
Yes.
I think we should follow up with some kind of flyer on this.
I can make that happen, yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
I also have a question, I guess. There's been times that it took a little bit to determine whether or not it was the homeowner's fault or the village's fault. But in the meantime, there was a sewer backup problem going on. if it's not obvious when the village responds, and what you just described should happen, that the homeowner should call the village first. But if it's not obvious whose side it's on when we do that, then at least the benefit of the doubt should be given to the homeowner to help them resolve the problem. And maybe there needs to be something put in here that they are still responsible for the fees, because it was their problem. It was proved at a later time that it was on their side that caused the issue.
So the way the policy basically outlines is the village is responsible for any damages or anything that happened to our system. Even if there's a failure in the system itself, we do routine maintenance, everything else. There's no negligence on our part, anything of that nature, which we do on our system. Every once in a while, there are failures. Each home is backed up with a backflow preventer. So if there is a failure in the system, you continually flushing the toilet and using the system the sewage is your sewage. It's just not going anywhere. But what it really does is outline that the homeowner is responsible for any, unforeseen circumstances on their property. Whether like they have a broken pipe or something like that similar, your insurance would cover that. So if you had a backup in your system, in your home that flooded your bathroom or downstairs, whatever it may be, that would be an insurance issue.
I understand that. But you and I had this conversation that there are times that it's not quite black and white, or whatever you want to call sewage.
Correct.
When it's going on. And all I'm concerned with is that we just don't go, nope, we don't know who this is, but we think it's you, so you got to do it.
So
I think we should, as the government, the homeowner is ultimately responsible if it's on the homeowner's side. I'm not saying that he should not be responsible. I'm saying that there's at a point of time that we may not know who the responsibility, but it has to get fixed because it's sewer.
Correct. So the way this outline is, no matter who's at fault, whether it's our system or their system, anything that happens on their side of the property is their responsibility.
You're not listening to what I said.
No,
Okay.
We don't have to determine whose fault it is. It doesn't matter one way or the other. If our system had a backup, a failure, or whatever it may have happened, and then it continues up the system into their property and has a backup in their house, it's still their fault. No. They still have to.
No, if it's a village problem, why should the homeowner be responsible?
There are system failures that happen within many different systems.
But you just said that the
there
village
is not there. So there are system failures that happen within our system, and it's not due to negligence or anything of that nature. This is the standard pretty much across all wastewater utilities.
And it's nothing that the homeowner could correct either.
Correct. But that's
so
the
why
reason
should the homeowner be responsible for it?
It's the same thing as like having a broken pipe. Is it the aqueduct's fault that there was a broken pipe because the water pressure continued to flow through their house?
You two want to take this outside?
No,
What are we
no.
doing?
I think we need to.
We did a lot of extensive research. This is the industry standard.
I don't care
and this
whether
is
it's
why.
the industry standard or not. We're in Isla Mirada, and we need to take care of our citizens.
Gotcha.
I think Sharon's right. You two go outside. All right, so outside of that, does anybody else have anything for AJ?
Do we need a motion on that?
No, it was public comment.
Oh, okay.
See, I got this down
ma'am.
now. Is there any?
Yes, there is. First up is Sue Miller.
Okay.
So first of all, I didn't like what I heard about a system problem causing a backup in a home and it being the homeowner's responsibility. I just can't see where that is feasible at all. But the problem that I have is that sometimes a homeowner can be responsible for a problem that's on the village side. And so therefore, it's really difficult for this policy to make any sense to me. And one of the things, I live in an area where we have grinder pumps. The grinder pump is owned by the village, so it's on the village side, but if I flush the wrong things, I'm going to damage the grinder pump. I also will tell you that in the areas that have grinder pumps, we were promised I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this right, a SCADA system that would automatically, if there's a failure, would notify the village that there is a failure in the sewage system. For grinder pumps, that has never worked. Not since the thing was installed. We have never had it. We have, therefore, failures that the village doesn't know about until somebody calls. We have lots of out-of-town people. I know that in our neighborhood, we had an alarm going off several years ago, and we had to wander around the neighborhood to figure out where the alarm was coming from because it's so loud you can't tell what house it's coming from. And it happened to be a home that was unoccupied. How does that happen? And yet, without a SCADA system, we couldn't even tell. And recently, within the last couple months, my light came on red on my grinder pump. And I'm thinking, gee, what is that about? It was at midnight, and I felt guilty calling the village at midnight to tell them that the red light is on my grinder pump. And I thought, oh, I just won't flush until morning, and I'll call the village in the morning. I go outside, and the light is green. And so the system itself is not always dependable. And so I sort of have a problem being responsible or not responsible. And I think that we need to make sure that the property owners have a brochure to explain what they're responsible for, what they're not responsible for. But I think the village also needs to figure out why we don't have a SCADA system and why the lights don't always work right, why the alarm doesn't always work right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, Marnie?
Yep, we have on Zoom Dylan Scott. Okay, go ahead, Dylan, you have 3 minutes.
Yes, I would just first off like to commend Captain Steve for bringing the resolution that unfortunately none of the other members of the council felt confident enough to vote on. This is an Islamorada issue. This is an Everglades issue. This project is impacting the Everglades ecosystem, and due to the number of tourism dollars from ecotourism from the Florida Bay that Islamorada depends on, it's a shame that none of you had the courage to even second his motion to vote on this resolution. I hope none of you continue to run on Everglades conservation in the future, because that's a lie. It's an absolute shame. I'm ashamed of this council that they did not take up this resolution to even vote on it. This facility is negatively impacting the environment and the Everglades ecosystem due to increased pollution from nonstop generator use at Alligator Alcatraz. An abomination that you guys have refused to even consider and give this issue the light of day. Deeply concerning, and Steve, again, I commend you. I hope that the rest of the council educates themselves on this issue, and Steve, I would suggest you bring this resolution up for a vote in a future meeting. I commend you again. Deeply unsettling that the rest of your commissioners did not even try to join you in voicing their concerns against this issue. I am absolutely disgusted at this time. Thank you.
Marnie, anybody else?
Yes. Next up is Alina Davis. Go ahead, Alina. You have 3 minutes.
I totally agree with the last speaker, and I think that Steve's resolution should be considered, because everything that is north of us affects us. And if we don't see that, we are fools. The next thing is we're talking about the Everglades and the national park, and it is absolutely integral to the village of Islamorada's well-being. Oh, sorry, I got a text. I think you all need to really realize how deep this connection is with the Everglades. And anything that happens in the Everglades comes down and flows to us. If it's pollution, it flows to us. If it's green, it flows to us. And you really, really need to analyze that going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Marnie?
There are no other hands raised or comment cards filled out.
Okay, so going back to the tab, which was about AJ, I know, getting confused here. Does anybody want to have a discussion, or we have a motion? Was there public comment on that one? Maybe let's go right by that.
The public comment for that item has been done. Sue was the only person who signed up for it.
Okay. All right, so council? Do I have a motion, or what do we want to do?
I'll make a motion to approve this as long as we make sure that we notify the public of what this addition to our code is, and how this really is. It's not going to impact them one way or the other because it already had the responsibility. It's just an explanation of where the responsibility goes. But I really would like to see a flyer go out to the public so they understand that. That's all. So I'm making a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it. Just exactly what Dawn said.
Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
No.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Sorry, no.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes 4-1.
All righty. I believe that is the end of our meeting. We survived, maybe. Thank you. Move to adjourn.